Hi, thank you for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. Welcome to March Madness College Basketball Round of 64 in place for Thursday, the March 21st. Degenerate sports gambling holiday for all of us out there who can't get enough of sports gambling. So welcome. We're in for a wild ride of, I'm sure, of either major upsets, buzzer beaters, or probably all of those combined. We're going to hit the Thursday, March 21st games. We'll have another episode for Friday's March 22nd games. These two rounds, though, are probably the most exciting due to the fact, like out here in Phoenix, we got games going on from 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. So what's that, noon to midnight out east, basically. You're going to have games going on, multiple games to bet. Starting times 15 to 20 minutes apart. It's fun. 16 games on Thursday, 16 games on Friday, and then we'll get into the weekend as we get into the round of 32 and everybody going to the Sweet 16. So we'll go through all of our bets that we have so far for the Thursday, and then we're also going to give you a couple of longer term plays that we have for the tournament here. So let's get started with. We'll get started with the Thursday games here, so we'll get going. First game up, Michigan State, Mississippi State, 9:15 out here in Phoenix, so just a little past noon out east. Michigan State, 1.5 point favorite, 1.5, depending on where you're looking. Total of around 130 and a half. So Mississippi State is one of the better offensive rebounding teams in the country. And Michigan State, I'll be really honest, has been, I don't know if I want to use the word disappointing, as they did make the tournament and they made it, in their, 8-9 game. But they have not been fantastic all season long. Purdue ran away with the Big Ten. Illinois was right there for quite a while. The bigger story, I thought, from the Big Ten was the way Nebraska played, the run they had this season. Michigan State was up and down a little bit. They do get some quality wins. They play teams tough, and it is Izzo time or March Madness time. So we do have a play in this game. We do like Michigan State here. We took Michigan State -0.5 first half, -1 for the game. I just think a money line play here. I'd probably stay away from if the line continues to increase. I think a lot of people are probably going to bet because Izzo is the coach for Michigan State. That's a name brand. So we'll probably see some public money on that one as well. But we did take Michigan State here. I think they get away with the win. I think this is going to be tight all the way throughout. But we'll take that Michigan State -0.5 first half and -1 for the game. Next game up on the board, Duquesne, BYU. Kind of torn here on this one. BYU, 9.5 point favorite. Don't like that line at all. We'd love to play BYU here if it was like 6. I think that 9.5 leaves a lot of room for backdoor cover. 142.5 total. The total's up there for Duquesne game as well. Now, Duquesne can score, but majority of the time they're known for their defense. BYU, on the other hand, is known for two things. That's offense and three-point shooting. BYU could blow the doors open on this if they have a great shooting night. If they don't, expect this thing to be a battle here. We don't have a play on this particular game, but we do have a lean here. I would lean Duquesne, first time for BYU, be back in the tournament for a minute, but 9.5 points is a big number to lay. We would lean Duquesne with the 9.5, but no play as of yet. Next play up, Akron and Creighton. Creighton, 13.5 point favorite here. Creighton's been fantastic. They did beat the number one team in the country for most of the season, UConn. They did beat them by 20. It was at home. But Creighton has a lot of offensive firepower. They're not one to mess with in this one. They should, I would think, cruise to a 20-point win here. This line has moved, folks. It was at 12.5, pretty much where it opened up, now at 13.5. We do like Creighton in this matchup. We did take Creighton -7.5 first half and -12.5 for the game. One more time, Creighton -7.5 first half and then -12.5 for the game. Next game up on the board, Long Beach State, Arizona, 11 o'clock here in Phoenix. 2 o'clock Eastern time. Arizona around a 20-point favorite against Long Beach State. We staying away from this game for Two minor reasons. Well, I shouldn't say two minor reasons, two reasons. Number one is Arizona has struggled in the early rounds of this tournament. I think if they get by the first weekend, they have a great chance to make the Final Four. I think it's getting past that first weekend sometimes for some of these schools. Get their confidence legs up. They have one of the more talented teams in the country. They can play defense. They just have some bad lapses where they can't make some buckets sometimes. But not only that, Long Beach State has a coach that is dead man walking. Has agreed to been let go at the end of the season. Then they somehow win the conference tournament, make it in there. They're playing so loose, and this one's for the Gipper, this one's for coach type of thing. I'll be really honest here. We're not going to play this game at the 20 or 163.5 total. We'll stay away from this one, but we have a slight lean. It would be Arizona here, but I expect this game to be tighter than what we anticipate early, and then kind of Arizona blowing this thing up in the second half on that one. Next game up, Wagner, North Carolina. North Carolina, the 1 seed here, 24.5 point favorite, 133.5 total. It's a 116 matchup. We should never say the 1 seed loses, as we've seen it twice now in the last 5 years or so. But North Carolina, much better team than Wagner here. This should be one of those 30-plus point wins on there. Great story for Wagner making the tournament, winning in the 68 round to get to the 64. But we see North Carolina, we lean this way. We don't have a bet on this particular game. But North Carolina, like laying the 24.5. I think it's one of those games they win probably like a 28, so maybe not a ton of value there on that one. Next game up, 12:10 here in Phoenix, 3:10 Eastern, Illinois, Morehead State. Now, Illinois, the 3 seed here, win the Big Ten tournament, beat Wisconsin in that. They played pretty well all year. There's been some run on Morehead State, though. Still trying to figure out why everybody likes about Morehead State. I'll be honest here. We love Illinois. We've got them going deeper into the tournament. So we laid 12 with this, but I love this number at 11.5. So Illinois -7 in the first half, -12 for the game. Illinois -7 first half, and -12 for the game. So that 11.5 number where it currently sits, love it even more on that one. Next game up at 1 o'clock out here in Phoenix, so 4 o'clock Eastern, Oregon, South Carolina. So a lot of stuff been talking about Oregon. Obviously, they had to win the Pac-12 tournament to even get into the big dance. They do so. South Carolina had a great season in the SEC. They had some games where they got their doors blown off. They had a great run, let's say January into early February as well, where they got ranked in the top 20 in the country. There's a lot of things to like about the South Carolina team. They played good defense. Overall, pretty solid around. But I will say this. Now, the big stat going around is Dana Altman has never lost the opening round game, the head coach for Oregon, since he's been there in Eugene. I'll be really honest with you here. Oregon severely disappointed all season long. They should have easily been in the tournament. And making that run that they did in the Pac-12 conference championship, Pac-12 conference tournament, and they beat and they beat Arizona in that mix as well. We like Oregon here. We did take them on the money line. The line has even moved a little bit better, but we did take Oregon money line first half and Oregon money line for the game. One more time, Oregon money line first half, Oregon money line for the game. Next game up on the schedule, Nevada, Dayton. Another 7-10 matchup. Nevada, one of the better teams in the Mountain West, going against Dayton, one of the better teams in the AAC. Unfortunately, they didn't get really much of a chance to prove it in the conference tournament. Kind of had a dud there. They do really have a really good defense, though. Nevada's solid kind of offensively, defensively. Not a lot of... they don't really have any superstars, but not a lot of chinks in the armor either, where you can really attack one thing or the other with them. The total in this game at 136.5, and Dayton a 1.5 point dog in this particular matchup, even though they are the 7 seed. We actually like the under here. We think this is going to be a defensive battle in this particular one. So we did take Nevada, Dayton under 64 in the first half, and then under 136.5 for the game. One more time, we took Nevada Dayton under 64 first half, under 136.5 for the game. Next game up, Colorado State, Texas. Colorado State comes off an impressive win against Virginia. Not myself and probably everybody else included that watches college basketball sure would like to know how the hell Virginia made it to the 68 over some teams like Indiana State, some other teams like that. But they did. Colorado State took care of business, though. Beat them down. Didn't leave much doubt about it in that one. So thank you, Colorado State, for the cover in that game. Texas out of the Big 12. It's a 3:50 out here in Phoenix, so 6:50 Eastern time as we get into the night games. We like Colorado State in this one. If you can shut down basically one shooter for Texas, you've got a pretty good chance at winning this. I'm a Big 12 fan, but we just think Texas is not the team where they have been in the past on this one. We'll take Colorado State and the points. So Colorado State plus 1.5 first half, plus 2.5 for the game. One more time, Colorado State plus 1.5 first half, and plus 2.5 for the game. Next game up on the board, Oakland, Kentucky. Kentucky probably they've been a public favorite all season long. It's going to continue in the tournament. They're around a 13.5 point favorite, 162.5 total. Oakland gets in via the conference tournament championship. Oakland's not a bad ball club. And this is not Oakland, California, folks. This is Oakland, Michigan. They are pretty, like I said, a solid club. Kentucky has lottery picks all up and down that lineup. To be really honest, this game shouldn't be close as long as Kentucky does come out and play some defense in this particular matchup. We haven't liked them pretty much all season. The number gets pretty skewed with Kentucky early and often, so we're staying away from that one. But the 13.5 point favorite Kentucky, if we had a little bit of a lean, it would go that direction on that one. Next game up, McNeese, Gonzaga, 4:25 out here in Phoenix, so 7:25 Eastern start. Gonzaga, 6.5 point favorite against McNeese. If you haven't seen McNeese play this season, I understand, small conference, not a lot of those games easily available to watch out there. We really like McNeese. They can light it up. We expect them to do so against Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga has been one of those teams overall all season long that's been a little overrated. As St. Mary's beat them up in multiple games, but somehow St. Mary's and Gonzaga end up with the same 5 seed. We like McNeese here in this matchup, plus 3.5 first half, plus 6.5 for the game, as well as we're going to take money line for the game as well. So one more time, McNeese over Gonzaga, plus 3.5 first half, plus 6.5 for the game, and we'll also sprinkle a little bit on that McNeese money line as well. Next game up, we got a few games here for the evening here. So South Dakota State, Iowa State. Iowa State coming off that monster win against Houston where they beat Houston by like almost 30. They absolutely shut Houston down. It was a weird one, right? So, I mean, Houston beat up Iowa State earlier in the season. Iowa State's a hell of a team. They were top 10 for a majority of February and March. And they are extremely tough close to home. This game in Omaha going against South Dakota State here. They are a little scary in the retrospect that sometimes they struggle to score the ball, but their defense should carry them through this game. We don't have a play on this one as we think the number's just a shade high. That 15.5 goes through the key numbers of 5, 10, and 15, so we'll stick away from that one. And the total 134.5. I think this is a game that's, 70 to 50 wouldn't, 70 to 55, some to that effect wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Maybe go a little bit under and get a cover, but we'll stay away from that one. But we would have a slight lean for Iowa State. St. Peter's, Tennessee. Tennessee, 21.5 point favorite. Total of 129.5 on this one here. To be really honest, I rarely will bet a Rick Barnes coach team in the tournament. I think for some reason his teams do not seem to execute well down the stretch. On that one, Tennessee should cruise in this one. We don't have a play on this game, but Tennessee should cruise, being a 21.5 point favorite and the 2 seed overall there. Next game up, NC State, Texas Tech. So NC State, improbable 5 games, 5 days, winning the ACC championship. Still can't believe they won. They are a 4.5 point dog going against Texas Tech. Texas Tech had a solid year altogether. they deserve to. They deserve to be where they're at. NC State gets in, as an 11. The only way they were getting into the tournament is if they won it, and they pulled it out, even beating North Carolina in the championship game. We don't have a bet on this particular game. We would kind of lean NC State with the points as they've been kind of riding hot, but Texas Tech is a solid ball club, folks, and can cause all kinds of matchup problems in their own right. Next game up, Samford, Kansas. Kansas being the 4th seed here, 6:55 here in Phoenix start, so it's 9:55 out east. This line's been around 7.5, now down to 6.5. Main reason McCullers is going to be out for Kansas for the tournament. It's unfortunate. He came back this season, was having a great run until January, and he's been basically hurt since late January, early February timeframe. I feel bad for McCullers. He's an excellent on-ball defender. He's he's their best three-point shooting option and a guy that can take the ball to the rim. Unfortunately, we are Jayhawks fans here on the show. We're from the Midwest, like watching Kansas basketball, Iowa State basketball, stuff like that. KU has had basically four guys that they rely on so heavily to start. Now we're down to 3, and one of the 3 is still suffering Hunter Dickerson, the big transfer out of out of Michigan that came over. We're going to play against Kansas. This one is kind of, we really like Samford in this matchup. They think they can run the ball up and down the floor on them a little bit, kind of wear them out. They have depth as well. Don't like Kansas's depth here. I mean, Kansas has the better players, but they've only got 3-4 guys that really put any fear in anybody. So we're going to take Samford. We took them +4 first half, +7.5 for the game, and we also sprinkled a little bit on the money line as well. So Samford over Kansas, +4 first half, +7.5 for the game, and on the money line to win. Last game of the Thursday, Drake, Washington State. Washington State, 1.5-point dog, surprisingly enough, even though being the 7 here. Drake gets in by winning the Missouri Valley Conference. If you've never heard of Tucker DeFries, get ready to watch him as they are the 7:05 game here in Phoenix, so 10:05 out east. Tucker DeFries is the real deal. This guy has 3-level scoring, can take it to the rack, mid-range game, and can shoot the 3, and he's big. He is a handful. If you're going to beat Drake, you're going to have to figure out how to shut down Tucker DeFries. His dad's the coach as well, so maybe a little father-son player-coach duo there, get the job done. We like Drake in this matchup. Washington State they've had some big wins. They beat Arizona in Tucson. They've had some big wins in the Pac-12. Drake is one of those teams, though, they had to beat a really good Indiana State team to get here, and I don't think many people realize it. The only games they've really struggled have been true road games. They've played well on neutral floor. They've played extremely well at home. So like I said, we're taking Drake in this matchup. Drake -0.5 in the first half, -1.5 for the game. Drake -0.5 first half and -1.5 for the game. So also, to get these in before the tournament starts here, we have several bets on to make the Sweet 16, Elite 8, and Final 4. We did not take a national championship. We like filling out brackets as well. But I'm looking for, national championship unless you're taking UConn. And trust me, folks, I've looked through this. UConn should be the favorite and by a bunch. They've been the most solid team probably all season long. They have offense, defense, all 3 levels worth of scoring, and they can put it on you in a hurry. I don't know if it's going to be a cakewalk for UConn to get home. Everybody's picking UConn to win it. I mean, we have several brackets. So I've even got one bracket that has UConn winning it. I just have a feeling that it's not going to be there. But we're going to stick to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, and Final 4, and we'll give you those. So Illinois, which we mentioned earlier in the show, we like them to make the Sweet 16. They're -120 on DraftKings to do so. Grand Canyon University, a local team out here in Phoenix. GCU's had a heck of a run. They're +600 to make the Sweet 16. So we need a couple wins from them on Friday and Sunday for that one. Baylor's another team we like out of the Big 12 to make the Sweet 16. James Madison as well. James Madison with over 30 wins for the season. They were ranked at the start of the year. had a couple losses, and all of a sudden everybody forgot about James Madison. James Madison at plus 750 to make the Sweet 16. Marquette to make the Sweet 16 as a 2 seed. They were like minus 128 on FanDuel when we grabbed that a couple days ago. Drake, which we just mentioned, we liked their first round matchup with Washington State. They were at plus 650. It's worth a little bit of a flyer there. And then Creighton out of the Big East at minus 190 in order to make the Sweet 16. So we eliminate this. We get from the Sweet 16 and we go to the Elite 8. Illinois, which we picked for the Sweet 16, we also like them to make the Elite 8. They were plus 270 on DraftKings to do so. Houston, which the number was pretty high on them to make the Sweet 16, so we just went Elite 8 with them at minus 145 on DraftKings. Baylor, which we mentioned before, in the Sweet 16 at plus 400 to make the Elite 8. And then Creighton at plus 205. So winning that Sweet 16 game jumps that from minus 190 to plus 205. So Creighton in that. So in the Elite 8, Illinois, Houston, Baylor, and Creighton. And then Final Four, kind of a lot of the same teams you see that we have there, we've got going again. So to win the region, Houston was plus 140 to win the region. Illinois at plus 750 to win the region for the Final Four. Baylor at plus 700 and Creighton at plus 400. So one more time to make the Final Four bets that we've made. Houston plus 140, Illinois plus 750, Baylor plus 700, and Creighton plus 400. So that's kind of what we have for the long-term props plus the Thursday games. We will be back with tomorrow with another episode for all the Friday matchups that we've got bets on already. Make sure you do check out the Google Sheets at the end of our episode today. You can actually, it'll read docs.google.spreadsheet. It is a link into our Google Sheets, which have all of our bets that we've already placed. So you can look at all of those bets online as well as watch the video here. But basically give you a ledger of all of our bets, what juice we got those at, how many units we placed, what book we placed them at. So this is our betting blueprint here. Make sure you do check that out. Google Sheets are the way to go. If you don't have time to check out a full episode, watch a little bit of the show, and then you can get all the bets at the end of the episode once it gets uploaded there. So that'll be out here tonight. Like I mentioned, we'll be back with the Friday games, and then we'll get into the Saturday and Sunday matchups as well to get through round 2 in this weekend, and then we'll get you all set up for next weekend with the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. As well as we wind down this college basketball season. But March Madness is here, folks. Let's enjoy the ride. There are going to be a lot of people tearing up their sheets and brackets. If somebody gets big time, gets upset early, it happens almost every season. So don't don't take any offense to it, folks. This is a crazy time of the year. So brackets are fun. The gambling, though, on this stuff, this is more money making than brackets themselves. So like I said, these Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four bets, plus the Thursday and Friday games is where we're definitely going to make a majority of our money for the March Madness. So make sure you, like I said, check out those Google Sheets and check everything out. And as always, if you could subscribe and get notifications to our YouTube channel, so we drop a new episode of bets, you get those first. Makes life really simple to find us. Once you hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on for YouTube. You'll get a notification to your phone or device to let you know Sports Bets for Free has dropped some new bets. Then give you plenty of time to match them up with your bets and give you that ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window. I do appreciate everybody's support as always and look forward to seeing you on the next episode.